Welcome back to the Algarve, where today I've been invited on a charity Christmas ride in aid of a local children's home. Now, one nice thing about group riding is that it removes two fundamentals from the motorcycling equation: speed and direction. Everyone follows everyone else at a more or less constant speed, and the lead rider determines where we turn. Aside from the social aspects and the discovery of roads like this that I wouldn't necessarily find on my own, it also gives me some quality time with my own thoughts. No smartphone, no email, no WhatsApp, no sharing lean angles on Instagram. So, as we snake through these hills in the Algarve, I've been reflecting on some of the new motorcycles that are coming in the new year. So here's my countdown of the 10 bikes I'm most looking forward to reviewing ready for the 2022 riding season, beginning with the mildly exciting and working up to what is probably the most highly anticipated bike of next year. So coming in at number 10 is the unassuming Honda CB500X. If you're a regular to the channel, you'll know that I owned one of these back in 2019. I only kept it 6 months though, because despite being a good all-rounder, it was lacking in a few key areas, notably brakes, suspension, vibration and power. And although Honda can't do much about the 48 horsepower limit if they're to keep the bike A2 license friendly, they seem to have addressed the other issues, at least on paper. Dual front discs now, upside down forks and new engine mounts. Anyway, I'll find out soon enough, because I'm due to try the bike soon and the review should be up on New Year's Eve next week, so stay tuned for that. Number 9, the Royal Enfield Classic, nearly 200 kilos and 20 horsepower. Should be a riot. No, but seriously, I am looking forward to this bike. The Interceptor was a disappointment, and my criticisms of it a few weeks ago didn't go down well with the RE Brigade, but my main gripe with that bike was its asking price. €7,000 puts it too close, in my opinion, to better bikes from the likes of Triumph and Honda. The Classic is a much more modest €4,000, and at this price point it's worth consideration. I've had a 9 horsepower scooter for the last 4 years and absolutely love it. Unashamedly basic, can be fun. Number 8, the Ducati Panigale V4S, from one motorcycling extreme to the other. But having revisited the Triumph Speed Triple in last week's video, I'm not quite so excited about these hyper bikes as I once was. However, it's still one of the best looking bikes on the market at the moment, and the specs certainly attract attention, if nothing else. 215 horsepower, 13,000 revs per minute, 174 kilos. Fun Christmas fact, that's a power to weight ratio of 1,235 horsepower per tonne. The Bugatti Chiron has 740 horsepower per tonne. Almost makes the Panigale's €30,000 asking price seem like a bargain. Number 7, bit of a weird one this, but I do like weird, the Honda ADV 350. Basically a reskinned SUV version of the Forza scooter, which I've always kind of wanted but don't actually need. I am genuinely interested to try this as a possible replacement for my current scooter. It offers an improved ride over the Forza, normally, with better suspension components front and rear, and according to those who've sat on it, more space too. A couple of things put me off though. The electrically adjustable screen from the Forza has gone, and an LCD screen replaces the easier to read analog dials. There's also slightly less storage capacity under the seat, which is kind of the whole point of a scooter, so we'll just wait and see. Number 6, the Motoguzzi V100 Mandello. Great specs, great looking bike. So why only number 6? Well, a bit like with the Yamaha Nikon a few years ago, I fear this is one of those bikes that many people rave about but nobody actually buys. I hope they do. I hope it does signal the revival of the Motoguzzi name. I'm all in favour of brand diversity, despite Triumphs occupying the top 4 slots of my Rocket score, something I'm not altogether happy with and hope to rectify next year. But no, apart from a few patriotic Italians and die-hard fans, I can't see that many people buying this one. Unless, of course, it is really very good and well priced. Pity, but there you go. So on with the list, and at number 5 is a bike that's kind of the polar opposite of the Motoguzzi, the Honda NT1100. Not particularly exciting or interesting, but they'll sell thousands simply because it's a good old Honda that does what it says on the tin, taking you across continents with no fuss or drama. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm quite interested in the bike myself. Maybe a second bike to complement the Speed Twin. It even looks a bit like a scooter from the front, so I could kill two birds with one stone and get one instead of a Forza or that ADV 350. 100 horsepower with the option of an automatic DCT gearbox, which I probably wouldn't go for actually, and options like heated grips, cruise control and panniers thrown in for a reasonable asking price of €14,000. It has all the hallmarks of being a big seller. Number 4 on my list is the BSA Gold Star. Intriguing because it marks the rebirth of a heritage British brand, even if, as we all know, it's now Indian. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm mainly keen to see if it's better than the Royal Enfield Interceptor, both in terms of the riding experience and the price. My main criticism of the RE was its value for money, but rumour has it that the Gold Star is going to be pitched slightly above the Interceptor in terms of price. So let's hope they deliver in terms of components. Remember BSA, we like quality suspension and beefy brakes, so please don't let us down. Top 3 now. These are the bikes that I'm genuinely getting excited about trying. Number 3, perhaps an unexpected one, but I like weird, remember, the Brixton Cromwell 1200. A slightly contentious name maybe, but Triumph should nevertheless be worried about this bike as it's clearly aimed squarely at their Bonneville range. 235 kilos though, and only 80 horsepower from its 1200cc engine. Maximum torque also comes in quite a bit higher in the rev range, and at €10,000 it's not exactly a bargain, but this is a brand new large capacity engine from an emerging brand, so I'll give it a whirl. Austrian design, built in China, which when you think about it isn't a million miles away from Triumph's designed in the UK, built in Thailand setup, so I think this could be an interesting bike. Number 2, the Kawasaki Z900 RS SE. Okay, confession time. I've never really been a Kawasaki fan. A bit too racy, a bit too spiky and a bit too green for me. That said, I have always liked the Z900 RS since it came out 4 or 5 years ago. And I do like quality components, so Kawasaki seem to have ticked all the right boxes with this SE iteration. They've gone a bit overboard with the gold, unfortunately. Too many shades of yellow on display here. And I believe it's the only colour you can get the SE in, unfortunately. Sometimes Kawasaki, less is more, but it's still a good looking bike, and I prefer the clocks to those on my Speed Twin. Same weight, 10 more horsepower, but a bit less torque from its smaller 900cc engine. Could be an interesting comparison video with my bike. And so to the number 1 new bike that I'm most looking forward to reviewing in 2022. I bet a lot of you have already guessed, and I'm seeing the rolling eyes all around the world. Yes, apologies for putting Triumph at number 1 again, but there's no denying that the Tiger 660 is attracting a lot of attention. And in a poll I conducted last month among my subscribers to find out which new bike they would most like to see me review, the Tiger won by quite a substantial margin. I don't want a Tiger 660, at least I don't think I do, having owned and sold the Trident 660 early this year, but it's pretty obvious this bike is going to sell. Basically an SUV version of the Trident, which already offers just about the perfect balance of price, excitement and usability. The Tiger does look very promising. However, I can't help thinking the Tiger 850 may well offer better mile-munching touring ability and be superior off-road, and it's only €1,000 more. We shall have to see. Bikes that nearly made it into the list include the Tiger 1200, but as good as it will probably turn out to be, I'm not personally that excited about it. Although lighter and more competitively priced than the BMW GS, it's still big and it's still expensive, and to be fair, I'm not really into hardcore off-road and or long-distance adventuring. Aprilia will be putting their fabulous 660 engine into their Touareg to give the Tenere T7 a run for its money. And finally, one bike I would definitely have liked to include in my top 10 is the Norton Atlas, but I fear we may have to wait until 2023 for those to materialise. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you think there have been any glaring omissions. Which bikes are you most looking forward to trying in the spring? But that's my list, and next week's video, scheduled to go out on New Year's Eve, will see me testing one of the bikes on it, so stay tuned for that. The Algarve Senior Bikers raised a very splendid €2,200 this year for the local children's home, so very well done to you all, and thanks for inviting me along on this last ride of the year. Time for lunch now though. I'll have to see what they think of my list. As always, thanks for watching, and Feliz Natal.